was supposed to be a routine transfer. The most violent criminals society's ever produced are being flown to the toughest maximum security prison ever built. Nathan Jones, a.k.a. Diamond Dog, life sentence, murder. Gordon Green, a.k.a. the Marietta Mangler, 7 life sentences. Cyrus Grissom, a.k.a. Cyrus the Virus, life sentence for murder, robbery, kidnapping, extortion. And Cameron Poe, parole, heading home to his family. Unfortunately, he just got on the wrong plane. From Jerry Bruckheimer, the producer of Crimson Tide and The Rock, Nicolas Cage, John Cusack, John Malkovich. This spring, buckle up. Con Air, directed by Simon West.
God, I love this movie. Con Air is the perfect definition of a summer popcorn entertainment experience. I don't even know if that's an actual term, but you get the idea of what I'm trying to go for here. I mean, this is a movie where you turn your brain off, you get a tub of popcorn, you get your drink, and you just sit back, relax, and just let the movie play, and you just have the time of your life with it. Like, this is a film that is not very clever story-wise, but everything that it delivers in this movie is just pure perfection. The action sequences are outstanding. The cast is absolutely brilliant. I mean, Nicolas Cage, John Cusack, John Malkovich playing Cyrus the Virus, Steve Buscemi, Ving Rhames, Cole Meany, Nicolette Williamson, Rachel Ticotin, Monica Porter, Dave Chappelle. Just a phenomenal cast in here, and they're just having the time of their lives making this movie. I mean, the action sequences are incredible. The story overall, yeah, like I said, it's not the most well thought out story, but man, it just delivers on everything else, man. The action sequences in this movie are just so much fun to watch. The scene where they're flying the plane in the Las Vegas Strip, like, that's just absolutely hilarious. It's an absolutely fun movie, and granted, yeah, it goes on a little bit at the end, but really, it's a hell of a fun movie. It's really great. Nicolas Cage is very fun to watch in here. The first of 2 big successes for him during the summer of '97. And like I said, John Malkovich playing Cyrus the Virus, just pure perfection, man. Like, this movie is just so damn fun. And honestly, I had no idea that one of the songs for this movie, How Do I Live, actually came from, this movie, because in this movie it's performed by Trisha Yearwood, but I've also heard the one by LeAnn Rimes, which actually came out a few weeks before this movie came out. In fact, both versions of this song came out the very same day, which is very interesting, because you have a song by LeAnn Rimes, and then you have the one by Trisha Yearwood. I thought it was very interesting. That's very interesting. I don't know if that's ever happened before, where you've had 2 versions of the same song come out on the exact same day. But in the case of this one, it's Trisha Yearwood doing the one in the movie here. Even though I kind of like the LeAnn Rimes one better, this one's still pretty good too, and got an Oscar nomination too. So at least something came out of it. But other than that, though, this movie just has so much fun with itself. It knows it's not taking itself seriously whatsoever. It has great lines all throughout the film. I mean, put the bunny back in the box. I mean, what more do I need to say about that? You know, just so many great lines in this movie. So much well-made action sequences. So many well-made action sequences is what I'm trying to say here. It's just too much fun, man. I can't really say anything too bad about this movie, even though the story doesn't really come together as much, especially when it drags a little bit at the end. But at the same time, you're just having the time of your life watching this. This is such a fun, turn your brain off, have a good time movie experience that's just... I can't recommend this movie enough. Con Air is just such a ton of fun. Can't recommend it enough. Definitely check it out. So, with that said, let's move on to the next movie. Rene Russo starring in Buddy.
By her own rules.
Miss, what are these little...
Apes, just over from Africa.
She raised her family. In her own way.
Enough to drive a person to the nut house.
But when she opened her home to an orphan in need...
Where is his mother? No gorilla has ever survived captivity without its mother.
What are you doing?
taking him home.
Her world would never be the same.
If you don't eat, how will I ever see your bright eyes? Beautiful little buddy.
Sick of the idiot, man.
From Jim Henson Pictures comes the incredible true story.
My dear woman, the gorilla is an unfathomable mystery.
Revolutionary as it might seem to you, I have encountered no limits or even real difficulties.
That's preposterous.
Of a woman who wouldn't give in.
How about the cheer on?
Well, it's the only way he eats. You know that.
You realize what you have accomplished? You are the missing link.
And an extraordinary creature.
But he's a perfect gentleman.
Yes, with perfect table manners.
Your foot goes on the floor.
Who just had to grow up.
Whoa, buddy.
I'm always wanting to do that.
Her heart was big enough for him. Even when he became too big for her world.
Have you decided what to do about Buddy?
This is the only world he's ever known.
Rene Russo.
Don't just belong to you, you know. Well, maybe I do.
Buddy.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Jim Henson Pictures. This is not the movie I think you really wanted to start off with. This is a film, of course, about Rene Russo playing this woman who... It's based on the story of this gorilla called Maso, which includes some elements of the person that she's playing in this movie, the other gorilla that she had, who she called Buddy at the time. In real life, this gorilla became the oldest living gorilla up until 2008 when she died at a circus attraction, and he died in a circus attraction, and his remains are now on display in a museum. This should be a really interesting film. It should be a very engaging film. It's directed by Caroline Thompson, who also wrote Edward Scissorhands and also did The Night Before Christmas and directed Black Beauty, which is a really good film. But for Jim Henson Productions, with the animatronics that they use on their films and how great they are, you'd expect a whole lot better than what they have in this movie here. This movie is just... It's amazing how bad these effects look. It's not really Congo bad, where Amy is literally a person in a gorilla suit and it doesn't even look close to looking like a gorilla. This one at least is trying, but at the same time, it just doesn't feel like it just doesn't work as well as I think they wanted it to. Also, I don't think that the person that they're basing this on, Rene Russo's character, it feels like they're trying to create a new modern-day version of Dr. Dolittle, except replace Rex Hamilton with Rene Russo. Of course, they make another Dr. Dolittle film the following year with Eddie Murphy, which turned out to be a much bigger success. But I see a little bit of Mary Poppins, too. Like, she's trying a little bit too hard to be... It's like they're trying a little bit too hard to go back to, like, stuff like Dr. Dolittle and Mary Poppins, try to combine them together into this role. And I just don't think it works here very well here. Rene Russo's trying her best here, but it's just not coming together well here at all. Like, you can't really buy into this relationship between her and the gorilla. There are times in this movie when the gorilla looks at her like he wants to bang her. Like, I'm sorry, I know it's a kid's film, but it's really hard not for me to see scenes with this gorilla looking at her and not think that he's got other intentions with her. And it's just like, that's not a good sign for this movie. This is the first film from Jim Henson Pictures of what was supposed to be many others, and a lot of their movies they did when they became their own company did not really pan out all that well. We're going to see some of these examples coming up in the next couple of years, but yeah, this was not a good one to start off on, unfortunately, and yeah, it's a really bad movie. It's not a well-made film whatsoever. It's a disappointment. There's a lot of potential there, but it just doesn't quite add up all the way in the end. So that's Buddy. Let's go ahead and move on to the next film we've got here, and that is Bliss.
There are secrets lovers keep, but never reveal.
There's some things I never told you about Maria.
I have a confession to make.
There are emotions they feel, but never share.
It's not what you think.
There are fantasies they dream, but never savor.
I need to understand. He's a sex therapist that practices on the edge of the law. You know, I'm your husband, for Christ's sakes.
I don't care who you are.
I know you love Maria Joseph. I'm not here to take that away from you. Do you think you have the ability to put aside your rage and listen? I want to learn how to heal my wife. Conscious sex that achieves bliss is the greatest healer there is.
Because you know who I would want to go to if I need problems with my sex life? General Zod from Superman the movie. Yeah, this is a weird one here. This is a story. You basically get a concept of what the movie is there. The young married couple here, played by Craig Schiffer and Cheryl Lee, they are trying to address issues impacting their sex life, and they try to use the teachings of tantric sex, and they go to their psychologist in this movie, played by Terrence Stamp, for his advice on there. And I don't know. This feels like a movie that would have easily played on Skinamax or HBO late at night, but they blew it out for the big screen because they got a name like Terrence Stamp, as well as Cheryl Lee and Craig Schiffer. But other than that, though, this is a movie that does not look like it really is going in the right direction whatsoever here. It's just like, it's a film that I think tries a little too... It looks like it's trying too hard to be a new Basic Instinct or a new kind of erotic thriller, but it just doesn't really work that well here from what I'm seeing in this trailer. I haven't seen the movie, of course, so I can't really say if it's any good or not. The reviews for this do not look very positive. In fact, they were pretty much very divided from what I'm seeing here. But other than that, though, I really don't know if this movie is any good or not. I sincerely doubt it, but like I said, it feels like a Skinamax movie blown up for the big screen. But who knows? Maybe it actually could be something, but I don't know. I can't say anything about it because I haven't seen it. Those are just my thoughts on it, just from watching the trailer alone. So yeah, on to the next film, Red Cherry.
我们这样能行吗？这些都是瞎编的。
听我的没错，你按王上面写的去背。这不过是原草诗嘛。
我还是有点紧张，你就一点也不紧张吗？
没什么好紧张，不用我额意说几句吗？
So this is, as you can see, this is a Chinese film made in 1995 under the name Hongji Tao, and this is based on the true story of Chu Chu, a 13-year-old Chinese girl, and Liu Xiaomin, a 12-year-old Chinese boy who were sent to Moscow, Russia in the 1940s and enrolled in an international boarding school. There they had so many great and difficult experiences that they tried to survive World War II. The children's real encounter with fate begins as summer break, or as they call it, Kanakuli, arrives. Chu Chu accompanied her to a children's camp in Belarus, while Xiaomin remains in Moscow. Then Russia is invaded by Operation Barbarossa, and Red Cherry is basically an account of the two orphans' parallel experiences of the war. I haven't seen this movie. I can't really say anything about it, so... it looks kind of promising from the little bit of clips I saw there. I couldn't find a trailer for it, so I actually took a little bit of footage there from the actual movie, which is available online, and it's got some promise to it. The idea sounds pretty interesting in terms of the premise. I mean, it could definitely go either way, but like I said, I haven't seen it, so I can't really say if it's any good or not. So on to the last film that we have here, and that is Intimate Relations.
My gentlemen have always been part of the family. In fact, they usually call me Mum.
Just what I'm looking for. Does he have any references? We've got to be careful. We've got a young girl in the house, you understand?
Where do I look?
I look better than Paul.
Now, what can I get you? Sandwich, biscuit, cuckoo?
I think I'll just turn in, Mrs. Beasley. This is the same.
No, Harold. What must you call me?
Mum.
That's better. Harold certainly has a way with the little ones, and he's, very nice looking.
This is a black comedy and kind of a drama about this young man who has an affair with this middle-aged housewife he's lodging with. Matters are soon complicated when the housewife's teen daughter gets involved after developing a crush on the young lodger. The film takes place in the 1950s in the suburbs of London, depicting the hypocritical, prudish residents of a seemingly respectable household who, behind closed doors, indulge in the sordid goings of that they would publicly sneer at. Once again, haven't seen the film, so I can't really say if it's any good or not. I mean, Julia Walters is in it, and usually she can be very good. It's a young appearance by Nicholas Hoult in here. I don't know. I don't know if it's any good or not. I mean, the trailer looks kind of like a fun black comedy in a way. But other than that, though, I don't really know if it's any good or not. I can't really say if it has any promise to it, but it looks like it could be at least somewhat interesting. I don't know for sure if it's any good, but like I said, could be interesting. Could not be that good of a film, but that's all I really know about it. So that's Intimate Relations.
First, he took you on a bus ride. Then for a spin in the country. Now he invites you on the ultimate getaway.
This is a cute couple. What are your names?
Ready to go.
Welcome to paradise.
This almost seems too perfect, doesn't it?
Want me to step on your feet?
You already did.
Oh. Come in again.
No. Come on, keep dancing.
Engine and steering controls non-functional. You gotta stop the ship. I don't have any control.
Oh, man.
This summer,
I gotta get them out.
Rush Hour.
We're not gonna stop.
Everybody down.
Hits the water. Sandra Bullock,
I'm never leaving the house again.
Jason Patrick. Speed 2, Cruise Control.
Who is running the ship? Oh, yeah. I am.
Nothing beats the rush.
Yeah, that didn't come out on June 6th, as you can tell, but, yeah, Speed 2 was not a big hit, critically or financially, compared to the first movie, and how that shattered and changed the action movie game as we know it. This movie got really bad reviews, only 3% on Rotten Tomatoes, and, two of the people that really liked it, Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert, they wrote the film's only 2 positive reviews for the film, and on their show, gave it 2 thumbs up, calling it a truly rousing ocean liner adventure story. And, Roger Ebert defended the movie all the way up to to the year before he died. I mean, he wrote an article about his film that inspired more disbelief than any other that he had written and frequently cited as an example of him being a poor film critic. But he defended this all the way up to his death. I mean, he spoke about the difficulty of making such films as Speed 2 and defended his review by basically telling people at this conference on World Affairs, he offered them a Speed 3 contest for anyone to create a 5-minute short film that takes place on something that cannot stop moving. And, I mean, truth be told, I kind of see Speed 2 the same way he does. I mean, it's not a great movie by any means, but it is a very creative and very energetic action movie. I mean, the action scenes, the special effects in particular, are kind of the highlight of the movie. I mean, you could see where the $110 million budget went into this. I mean, the scene towards the end where the boat crashes into the pier, that does not look fake by any means necessary. And that was 1997 when they really clearly could have used CG effects on that level. And the fact that they went practical on it, it doesn't look fake at all. And that's great. That's great to see on there. But like I said, it's a real guilty pleasure movie because a lot of this movie really pales in comparison to the first movie for a number of reasons. Number one, of course, is the cast and characters. I mean, Sandra Bullock's the only returning cast member from this movie. She's really limited down in here compared to the first movie. They don't really give her much to do in this, even though she's part of the main focus of the film. And other than that, it's also Jason Patrick's character and Willem Dafoe, which we'll get to him in a minute. But the movie clearly forgets that Sandra Bullock actually was kind of an important part of the first movie. And because of her, she was able to help Keanu Reeves get all the passengers off the bus before it explodes. Here it's just like, hey, Sandra, we know that you did so much for us in the first movie, and that was integral to the plot, but hey, why don't you take a break and let the big guys take over? And when I say big guys, I mean Jason Patrick. I mean, trust me, he's no Keanu Reeves in this movie either. He just comes off as this stock leading man action hero you'd find in a B-rate action movie, like something from the 90s direct-to-video action movie era. I mean, he's not a bad actor per se, but he's just not somebody who should be on the same caliber of Keanu Reeves. I mean, that was their first mistake right there, was not getting trying at least to get him back or get somebody close to that. The only character in this movie you kind of root for is Willem Dafoe, who's playing, I would think, an even more cartoonishly evil villain than he does when he plays the Green Goblin in the Spider-Man movies. At least in the Sam Raimi films, not like No Way Home, where they actually kind of redeem him a bit. Even he realizes that he's in on in this movie. He's in on a lousy film, but he's not going to let that stop him from being over the top and crazy that he is in here. I mean, you see the memes for a reason. Like, he is a ton of fun to watch in here. But let's get to the biggest problem with the movie, which stems from the obvious reason why this movie wasn't a hit. Why is that? I don't know. Boats aren't that fast. I mean, for follow-up to Speed, a movie about a bus that can't go under 50 miles an hour or else it will explode, making every moment once that countdown starts every bit as tense as it gets. There's really no excitement in watching a damn boat moving slower than 3 miles an hour in an action sequel where the first movie was going over 50 miles an hour. I mean, Family Guy probably made the best joke about about what a Speed 3 would have looked like.
Speed 3, Glacier of Doom. If this glacier goes slower than 1 mile a year, we're all dead!
Tell me something I don't know! Get out of the way!
I mean, come on, it pretty much speaks for itself. I mean, yeah, as a follow-up to Speed, this is a mess. I mean, there's just something about this movie to me that just makes it one of those really great guilty pleasure films for me. Maybe it's because of just how stupid and pointless it is compared to the original. Maybe it's because an executive at Fox looked at this and didn't throw the writer out the window for how stupid this is. I'm willing to bet you that once they saw this movie, they basically said, you know what, this Titanic movie with we got James Cameron on it, but we cannot put this movie out as close to this movie as push it all the way to the holiday season. Like they may say it was because of the budget getting in the way and the film not being ready to go, but I mean, come on, man, what more can you say about this movie in 1990? But I mean, then again, they also had a much better 1997 summer movie that took place in the water without the sea, which we'll get to in a couple of weeks. But I don't know, maybe it's just because of how uninspired it is. Whatever it is, Speed 2 is just one of those biggest guilty pleasures I've ever had. I mean, it's a mess of a film. It definitely pales in comparison to the first movie, but it's a fun mess. It's one of those so bad it's good movies that's definitely worth checking out every time I see it. I defend this movie to the end, man. This is not a great film, but goddamn, it is one of the best guilty pleasure films I have ever seen. So, oh yeah, Speed 2 Cruise Control. It was fun getting to this one finally. So, with that said, there wasn't any other big new wide releases, but in limited release, in one theater, which is, I think it was in Los Angeles, Disney released their latest animated feature that was coming out, and that was, of course, Hercules.
Our story begins eons ago.
Get it, ladies!
Back when the world was new,
The end is coming!
the planet Earth was down on its luck.
Oh, we're in trouble!
And everywhere gigantic brutes called Titans ran amok.
What you folks need is a hero.
Yeah? And who are you?
I happen to be a hero.
Walt Disney Pictures presents
Who was the Gladden gladiator?
Why does that name ring a bell? I don't know. Maybe we owe him money?
He's the strongest man on Earth.
Aren't you a damsel in distress?
I can handle this.
Have a nice day.
He's the nicest guy in town.
Don't let your guard down because of a pair of big goo-goo eyes!
But he's having a devil of a time.
Name is Hades, Lord of the Dead. Hi, how you doing?
We are worms!
Memo to me, name you after my meeting.
Trying to prove himself.
Is this kid gonna mess up my hostile takeover bid or what?
The hero's only as good as his weapon! Use your head!
Let's get ready to rumble! My favorite part of the game. Sudden death.
This summer,
Come on!
take off on an epic new adventure
I'm right behind you, kid! I'm way behind you, kid!
featuring a monster cast,
Guys, Olympus put you that way.
a hotshot villain,
I've got 24 hours to get rid of this bozo, and you are wearing his merchandise!
and one true hero. From the creators of Aladdin and the Little Mermaid,
Didn't know you had a famous father, did you?
comes the man,
Hercules!
Hercules.
the myth,
I'm an action figure!
the movie,
And hey, 2 thumbs way up there.
Hercules.
We dance, we kiss, we schmooze, we carry on, we go home happy. What do you say? Come on.
Hercules comes to us, of course, from the same directors who did The Little Mermaid, The Great Mouse Detective, and Aladdin. This is their first movie since Aladdin that they did. And it was received positively. It was a hit, but you kind of started to see a little bit of the downturn that Disney's second golden age was going through here, because this film as The Hunchback of Notre Dame just barely hit $100 million. This one barely missed $100 million. They can end up somewhere around $99 million domestically. It still was a big hit worldwide. It made over $257 million worldwide, so it was still considered a success. That eventually led to a TV series that aired on one Saturday morning, I think a year or two afterwards. There are things about Hercules that can be considered really good. I think the animation overall is very good. It's a beautifully blended mix of the traditional Disney animation along with the usage of the rising computer animation that will play into effect later on down the road. I like the voice cast in here. James Woods as Hades, that's just pitch-perfect casting right there, and he's a ton of fun to listen to here. And you've got great music by Alan Menken as well. I mean, usually he will put his all into it, regardless of how terrible a movie is. I mean, other than that, though, I think the movie itself is just kind of generic, honestly. It felt like Disney was trying to do a Greek version of the story of Superman. Both stories are very similar to each other, and unlike other movies that rip it off, X-Men Origins Wolverine, they tried their best to make it something different to the Superman story, but still, it's hard not to see it as kind of generic and cliche, and even the relationship between Hercules and Meg in this movie is pretty generic. There's nothing about their personalities or characteristics that make them unique compared to some of the other Disney romantic leads, like Aladdin and Jasmine, or Ariel and Prince Eric, or Beast and Belle. Like, I think those relationships work a lot better than these two work together here. It's a very mixed bag film. It's got some good elements to it, but it is a major step down compared to what Disney had done in the past 8 years. I mean, it's no Little Mermaid, it's no Aladdin, it's especially no Beauty and the Beast or Lion King. It's not a bad movie per se, but certainly not one of Disney's stronger animated films. I think it is a decently made film, but overall, it's definitely a step down compared to what we had seen from them at this point. And I won't say it would have been the direct end of the Renaissance, because they would still have Mulan and Tarzan coming up after this, but it was definitely showing signs that they were kind of starting to show that they weren't the big powerhouse they used to be. But like I said, it's not a bad movie at all. It's just not one of their stronger films. I still enjoy it, but there are definitely a lot of more holes you can poke through on this particular film. So that's my thoughts on Hercules. So let's go ahead and move on to the next movie that we've got here, and that is Peter Fonda in Yuli's Gold.
Year one film dares to be different. This year, it's Yuli's Gold.
You should get on with your life. Hello?
The story of a family on the edge, and the man who brought them back.
Casey, open the door.
What for?
She left me her kids, remember? Oh, God.
A triumph, Rolling Stone. 2 thumbs up, way up, Siskel and Ebert. Profound and mesmerizing, the Los Angeles Times.
Put in one of them, and you won't get a damn thing.
Yuli's Gold.
So Yuli's Gold tells the story of this reclusive beekeeper who slowly pulls his dysfunctional family back together, but not without having to fight his son's previously dastardly cohorts. And this is one of those last films that Orion Pictures had in their vaults because of their bankruptcy, and really, it's one of the most underrated films, probably the best film that they had left over, because it's a showcase to show that, hey, Peter Fonda is still a pretty damn good actor. He plays Ely Jackson in this movie very well, and he got a well-deserved Academy Award nomination for Best Actor in here. He's really terrific in the film. I think this was the film that relaunched his career a bit. He's surrounded by a very good cast as well. Patricia Richardson, Jessica Biel's also in here, at the peak of her Seventh Heaven starts. This is directed by Victor Nunez, whose last movie was the film that kind of launched Ashley Judd into... The film that kind of launched Ashley Judd into the spotlight with Ruby in Paradise, which is a very good film. It's a very underrated film. I don't think a lot of people really talk about it all that much, but it definitely feels like there's a lot here that really makes this film work. You buy into this relationship this family has, and you buy into their story, that there's the situations they're dealing with here. I think it's a very solid, entertaining film that delivers on everything that you would want in a good movie, in a good family drama like this. This isn't like one of those typical melodramas where you can easily pinpoint the emotional manipulation they're pulling at you. Every moment in this movie feels earnest, and every moment where they feel like they need to come together, it feels earnest. It doesn't feel like it's being forced onto you. It's just a terrific, entertaining film. One that is very underrated, and I don't think a lot of people really understand how really good this movie is. I mean, it's getting it's gaining more of an attention almost 30 years later. So I am glad to see that the following on it is growing and growing. I don't even think it's a cult following, honestly. I think people are just coming around to it and realizing that this movie is much better than anyone would have given it credit for. And Peter Fonda can still act his ass off, man. like I said, this was the film that helped him relaunch his career at that point, because his career kind of took a nosedive, probably around the late 80s, early 90s, and then this film helped him get back up on his feet again, and so on and so forth. And yeah, it's a really damn good film. If you haven't seen You Lose Gold, go and check it out, because you are missing something really special here. With that said, on to the next movie, and that is Temptress Moon, from the director of Farewell My Concubine.
From the director of Farewell My Concubine comes a film of danger, adventure, and steamy passion. Temptress Moon. Rent it now.
So, not far from Shanghai, in a country town, stands this home of the Peng family, with Home Master Peng being an addict who brings up his beautiful daughter, Ruyi, on opium smoke. Her older brother is Zangida. He's addicted as well, and then paralyzed and effectively brain dead. And then his brother-in-law is a successful gigolo in Shanghai who seduces older married women and then blackmails them. When older Master Peng dies, the clan elders made Rui take over the role as the head of the household. Zongliang, I know I'm probably getting these names wrong here. I'm just reading off what it says here. He returns to the Peng family on the death of old Master Peng. He encounters Rui, and they are secretly attracted to each other. Wanting to seem sophisticated, she succumbs to his attempts to seduce her, but then an emotional maelstrom follows for the anxious, jealous, and sexually frustrated sister, who's also part of the picture here. I have not seen this movie, so I don't really know if it's any good or not, but it definitely feels like a step down compared to the last film this guy directed, Farewell My Concubine, which was a widely praised film. The reviews for this did not seem as positive, and this film actually got banned in mainland China by state authorities, so I really don't know if it's any good or not. I wish I had some more to tell you about it, but I really do not. So, came out that weekend. Just wanted to bring it up. So that's Temptress Moon. Let's go ahead and move on to the last film, and that is Wedding Bell Blues.
3 women. Beautiful. Sexy. Single. 30.
Like if you're 30 and single, you're pathetic.
I don't want to feel like I'm being forced into marrying you.
I mean, even 30 and divorced is better.
That's what women should do. Find a guy, some stranger, marry him, then get divorced the next day, and then just mail their families the marriage certificate and just tell them to shove it.
That sounds absolutely horrible. I don't actually know if that's actually the plot of the film, but from the storyline I see here, 3 women are apartment mates. One's about to be married, another discovers she is pregnant from her longtime boyfriend, and the third has an endless queue of men in and out of her bedroom, and of course they end up in Las Vegas, because of course they do, and you see the names in there: Elena Douglas, Paulina Poroskova, Julie Warner. You also have John Corbett in here, Charles Martin Smith, Carla Gugino, Debbie Reynolds also shows up in here as well. As far as I know, I've never heard of this movie, so I can't tell you if it's any good or not. I don't see any reviews for it, so I have no idea if it's actually any good, but I don't know. This movie feels like a watered-down version of something like The Hangover, or something like a comedy that you've seen many times before, like A Honeymoon in Vegas, or even Leaving Las Vegas, which I think those movies are, from what I've seen, are done much better. But I don't know. This film could end up being good. I doubt it, because I haven't seen any good, strong views on this that might make me think that this could actually be good, but it's got a good enough cast to make it work. I mean, Elena Douglas, Julie Warner, John Corbett, capable actors in here, so maybe it's got a shot. I mean, I don't know. I'm not too certain myself. I don't know if it's any good or not. Like I said, I haven't seen it, but maybe it has a chance to be good. I don't know.
There will come a time when Gotham City shall witness the ultimate conflict of justice and evil. That time has come. That time is now. Arnold Schwarzenegger is Mr. Freeze.
You are not sending me to the cooler.
George Clooney is Batman.
Now, didn't your mother ever tell you not to play with guns?
I hate when people talk during the movie.
Miss O'Donnell is Robin.
Tell me and I'll kiss you.
Uma Thurman is Poison Ivy.
Kiss me and I'll tell you.
This is why Superman works alone.
And Alicia Silverstone is Batgirl.
Chicks like you give women a bad name.
A lethal cocktail of ice with a dash of venom. An awesome challenge for our heroes in black. A film by Joel Schumacher. Batman and Robin.
Tonight's forecast, a freeze is coming.
Where the hell did that trailer come from? How come we never got that here? That's my first time ever seeing that trailer, and I gotta say, it sold the movie much better than it did here in America. I mean, even though they got some names wrong, I mean, the trailer was edited nicely. I'm not even kidding. That was my first time ever seeing that trailer. I mean, I'm guessing maybe it was because it was an international trailer, and you see why it says June 27th on there. But I'll tell you this: that trailer sold the movie better than I think the other trailers did here in America. But probably doesn't help the movie itself either. So we might as well get to the most controversial conversation piece we could have about this movie, and that is that I don't think this is one of the worst superhero movies ever made, nor do I think it's one of the worst movies ever made. Now, don't get me wrong. It's a bad movie. But think about all the bad movies we've had before this and since then. I mean, Elektra, Catwoman, Superman 4, Green Lantern, Batman v Superman, The Flash. But this is not the worst of the worst. I mean, honestly, if someone were to put a gun to my head and I had to choose between Superman 4 or Batman and Robin, I would definitely take Batman and Robin again, because Superman 4 is just, that's a movie that I would never ever watch again. Not even for my own purposes of a so bad it's good movie. It's a bad movie. But this is also a bad movie too. It's pretty bad. It's not a good movie at all. And I know Joel Schumacher's plan with this was to go back to the 60s style Batman, but you know, honestly, the audiences of 1997 really didn't want to see that, especially after 3 movies where it's a completely different turn from what Joel Schumacher wanted to do here. I mean, what Tim Burton did in 1989 was the darker Batman. That was the one that really got people invested in Batman more than what we got with the 60s show. The 60s show is still a fun show to watch. I mean, it's a classic show for a number of reasons, but what Tim Burton did and what later eventually paved the way for Batman the Animated Series, that's the Batman we came to know and love at this point. And I don't know, I just don't think the reason why the classic 60s series works for its time is because most superhero movies back then were still strictly for kids. I mean, the show was intended specifically for kids, and the reason why people enjoy it today was because they could appreciate the product for the time period. But here, Schumacher, I don't think, realized today's audiences, or the audiences of 1997, wouldn't appreciate this just like the 60s TV series did, which ended up being a bad move on their part. I actually remember there was a short-lived show on E! Called Star Valence where they actually did it was a claymated show from the same guys that did Celebrity Deathmatch, and they did a reenactment of what they thought really happened on the set of Batman and Robin, and I wouldn't be surprised if this actually was the case.
Come on, Arnold. Kid-friendly, Alicia Silverstone. Most of the script's been written in crayon, for God's sake.
Come on! This movie is huge and spectacular. I'm currently wearing a shiny super ice suit and holding an enormous super freeze ray. I say things like "ice to meet you" and "the Iceman cometh" and things of this nature. It's a guaranteed multi-million-dollar summer blockbuster.
Tell me you don't think somebody on there, maybe not Arnold Schwarzenegger, but probably Joel Schumacher, thought the exact same thing. But let's just talk about why the movie really is a bad film, because it is a bad film. The story is filled with way too many villains, including a pointless Bane appearance, which really serves no purpose to the story. There's too many subplots coming in here. The horrible puns especially on Mr. Freeze. I mean, that's just... This is written by an Academy Award-winning writer, Akiva Goldsman. How does an Oscar-winning writer write some of the worst jokes and dialogue ever put to a film? Those great action sequences from the first movie by Joel Schumacher, completely gone in this one. We're back to the generic and choppy action sequences that are shot so badly, and it's the same cinematographer as the last movie, too. And the visual effects are so dated, too, and look way too 2D animated in some spots, too. I think the casting overall is really mishandled here, and the worst part is, a lot of these roles did seem to fit each actor, but now that the script writes him, we saw Chris O'Donnell handle himself as Robin in Batman Forever, but here, he's just a whiny bitch. I mean, I think Nostalgia Critic pretty much summed it up nicely. You know, Alicia Silverstone as Barbara could have worked if they'd actually followed the comics, but making Barbara Alfred's niece instead of Commissioner Gordon's daughter makes no sense whatsoever here. This is one of the dumbest moves made in this movie. The dumbest move of this film is Arnold Schwarzenegger and Uma Thurman as Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy, which, I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze, I could buy into this, but both of them could have made this work had the script been better, but nope. Those horrible puns, acting absolutely nothing like how the characters are supposed to act. I mean, Mr. Freeze alone is one of the biggest insults to this movie, because they took a character that, thanks to the animated series, in one of the best episodes of television you'll ever see, Heart of Ice, that character had more depth and perception that we could see with the character. Is his story. We wanted to follow that story. He was just a character that was just something straight out of an opera. You wanted to feel, but you felt exactly how he was feeling, but you saw him doing it in the wrong way, but you really did feel like he was doing it for a purpose. Here, even though they use a lot of the same elements, such as his wife being cryogenically frozen, they just don't care. And I mean, I guess for Schwarzenegger, hey, he got $25 million for this, so he can pretend he doesn't care as much as he probably should have here. I mean, I don't think Schwarzenegger was a bad choice for this. Maybe somebody like Anthony Hopkins maybe could have made this work, even though I did, like, in the animated series, he actually was going to be in contention for Mr. Freeze on that show, but they went with Michael Ansara on that one. George Clooney, it's not that hard to say that he's the best thing about the film, but at the same time, he's kind of the worst thing about the movie, honestly. He's the best thing about the movie because he's the one that's actually seemed like he's trying, and to be fair, he could have made this work. He's got Bruce Wayne down, but when he switches over to Batman, that's where the performance turns for me. Say what you will about past Batmans, but Michael Keaton and Val Kilmer at least managed to change their voices when they become Batman. Clooney wasn't even trying when he changes to Batman. His voice doesn't change from Bruce Wayne. It's the same type of voice. How do you not recognize him for that? I mean, if there's one thing I can say, honestly, that's positive about The Flash, I did like that they actually gave George Clooney another chance to be Batman. Maybe that means he's going to be him in The Brave and the Bold. One would hope, but who knows? But back to this movie. The worst part about this movie is that if they hadn't rushed it, if they had just waited the usual 3 years in between films and actually took their time to make this, there could have been a really good movie here, but no. Release it 2 years after Forever and rush it because we need to get money out there. And I guess for Joel Schumacher, you could tell that he wanted to make a good movie here that was enjoyable as the first movie he directed, which was Batman Forever, of course, and it just didn't work out the way that he wanted to, most likely because they were in a rush this time around. And to give the guy credit, he managed to have the courage to apologize for making this film. And, like, I mean, this speaks for itself here. Like, he's being very sincere about this, man.
If there's anybody watching this that, let's say, loved Batman Forever and went into Batman and Robin with great anticipation, if I disappointed them in any way, then I really want to apologize, because it wasn't my intention. My intention was just to entertain them.
Honestly, can't wait for Andres Muschietti and James Gunn to say the same thing about The Flash. Okay. Last thing against The Flash for now. At the time of this, of course, The Flash has just come out, and I've been making videos saying it's one of the worst movies of 2023. The worst movie of 2023, I should say. And there's going to be a little bit more of them after this video comes out, but we'll say I've done enough for that right now. Let's get back to this movie here, because I'm about to wrap this one up here. Batman and Robin, it's no question the worst Batman movie. There's just too much stuff going on. The casting is ridiculous. The puns are pointless. The action sequences aren't shot well. It's just a really bad Batman movie. And while it's not the worst movie ever made, I still can't say it's a good movie. And even though I just said that Batman and Robin is not one of the worst movies ever, I still didn't like it. Shockingly, it's not even the worst DC movie to come out in '97. Shaquille O'Neal and Steel will deal with that a little bit later on, but yeah, bottom line, Batman and Robin is a massive, massive misfire on so many levels, and it's a shame. It's a shame that this series came to an end. It's the same way that the Superman series came to an end, with a terrible fourth movie in the series, and it's a shame, man. So, let's try to get back on a more positive note here. Let's go to the next movie here. Julia Roberts, Cameron Diaz, Dermot Mulroney, and Rupert Everett in My Best Friend's Wedding.
I've always had great friends who are men. There's you, and of course my best friend, Michael. Sophomore year at Brown, you won't believe what we did. He says swear when we're 28. If we've never married, we marry each other. And we've been best friends ever since.
You're about to be 28 in 3 weeks, right?
Mm-hmm.
How old is he?
No, Michael's not proposing marriage. Well, you just can't do that.
Hey, Jules, it's Michael. Call me, 4 in the morning, whatever. We gotta talk. Bye.
This is awkward timing, Michael. I've had a sex change operation. I'm married. And I have 2 weeks to live. Michael?
Look, I have to ask you something. Something really important.
You know, could I just tell you one thing first?
I called because I met someone. We're getting married this Sunday.
Oh. If you love someone, it is your duty to protect them from themselves. I've got to break up a wedding, steal the bride's fella, and I haven't one clue how to do it.
Someday, when I'm awfully low, when the world is whole, I will feel a glow just thinking of.
This just makes everything so perfect.
Tonight.
You know, I've never had a sister.
I gotta say, man, the trailers for this were not... This is another one where the trailers were not really selling the movie at the beginning, but when you watch the movie itself here, this is probably one of the biggest surprise romantic comedies you'll ever see. I mean, from the very beginning, you have a really elaborate opening sequence where you have these women singing Wishing and Hoping, the Burt Bacharach song, and it's really well done. It's a very stylized movie, and it kind of really sets up a stylized opening sequence, I should say, but it kind of sets the tone for what's going to happen coming up in the next 2 hours, because it leads to a pretty damn good romantic comedy. I was really surprised at how much I enjoyed this movie. Julia Roberts is very good in this movie. Even though you're going to tell me she's 27, when in 1997 she was... Okay, maybe she wasn't. Maybe it's close enough. I thought it was... I don't know why. I thought she was a little bit older than that, but she was born in 60... What was it, 67 it said? Yeah, 67. So she would have been about 30, so I guess that makes sense. So forget that criticism. Julia Roberts is really good in this movie. I like her and Dermot Mulroney in this, as do I like Cameron Diaz. Rupert Everett has a good role in here. Philip Bosco, Emmett Walsh, Rachel Griffiths, Kerry Preston. The musical numbers in here are surprisingly well done. The comedy overall is really good. This is written by Ronald Bass, who wrote the screenplay for Rain Man, and he also wrote Waiting to Exhale. He's written a lot of really good movies, and he delivers a pretty solidly made film. I mean, it's a really funny movie with these really nicely done established musical numbers here. Like, there are really fun musical numbers. The I Say a Little Prayer for You sequence is surprisingly very good. Like, I went into this movie not expecting a whole lot. I really did not think this was going to be as good as everyone made it out to be. This was a big hit when it came out, and I could definitely see why. I mean, it's a very fun, entertaining movie. It's very funny, very creative. It doesn't go the same typical romantic comedy tropes that you think it would go down. It's a very fun movie. It's a film that, after Batman and Robin, was a nice return to... It was a nice little comfort food film. It's a nice return to form for a solidly entertaining film after watching the abysmalness that was Batman and Robin. I will remember the night that we went to go see... My sister, my mother, and my grandmother went to go see this movie, and my dad and I went to go see Batman and Robin. And I was 8 years old back then, so it wasn't really that much of a shock that I wanted to see that one, and they went to go see that one. I kind of regret now not seeing this movie on a big screen. I kind of would have liked to see what the reactions to this would have been like if I had seen this on a big screen, but years later, I'm glad I got to see it when I did, because it is really an enjoyable film. It's a pleasant surprise. It's probably one of Julia Roberts' best romantic comedies, period. I mean, this is a film that I go back to every once in a while, and I'm just kind of like, man, this movie is way too good. This movie was way too good than it ever needed to be, but I love it, man. I love this movie so much, man. This is probably one of the best romantic comedies ever made, honestly, if I had to really think about it. It's one I go back to every once in a while. Like, every year or so, I'll come back to it and still be very much entertained by what I see. I mean, it's a really damn good movie. So, yeah, that's My Best Friend's Wedding. The rest of these are kind of independent films. None of them I really got to see, so we can run through these pretty quickly. Let's start with the first one we have here, and that is Dream with the Fishers.
They say from this height, it's like hitting concrete. See, the thing that would worry me is that some people survive it. Survive it? Liz, this is Terry. Terry wants to kill himself.
Join the club.
You have any fantasies, Terry? I don't know. Man, I got thousands of them. But I figure I only got time for 10 or 12 of them now. Life insurance. $50,000. You help me do these things, I'll make you the benefactor. I think you mean beneficiary. Whatever.
So you have this guy named Terry who's a suicidal voyeur who doesn't seem to be able to kill himself. He's preparing to jump off a bridge. He meets this guy named Nick who ends up saving his life, and he discovers that Nick is terminally ill and doesn't have much time left. So Nick offers Terry a deal he can't refuse. Terry will become the beneficiary of Nick's life insurance, or since money doesn't matter to Terry, he promises to kill him before he dies. All Nick asks is Terry's help to realize a few fantasies before he dies, and hilarity ensues, I guess. David Arquette is Terry in this. Brad Hunt is Nick. You have Kevin Erb from Law and Order Criminal Intent and D2 The Mighty Ducks. Kathy Moriarty's in here. Anita Barone, Alice Beasley from Moonlighting. A good cast overall here. I don't really know about the movie itself. I've never seen it before, but the trailer alone looked pretty promising. It looks like a weird, bleak, dark comedy in a way. It's all, with a lot of dramatic elements too, so maybe this could actually be something pretty intriguing. This is one I might have to check up on another time. So, speaking of people who are suicidal, the next movie is literally titled with the name with the word suicide in it. The Last Time I Committed Suicide.
Every young man dreams of living life to the fullest, of finding that one true love, having bold adventures, and lasting friendships. For Rebel Neil Cassidy, life itself would become his greatest adventure.
You are the big cat, destined to wander forever, spreading your sunshine onto the lives of those of us who live less.
Though sometimes life's temptations can create numerous obstacles.
The film takes place in 1946 Denver, where you have this aspiring writer who enjoys irresponsible adventures with his friend. He writes a letter about his life before and after the suicide attempt by a sad, commitment-seeking girlfriend. You see Keanu Reeves in there, along with Thomas Jane, as Claire Filani's also in here, from Mallrats, Adrian Brody, Gretchen Mol, so a pretty good cast overall here. Directed by Stephen Kay, whose career after this was not that strong. I mean, he did the Sylvester Stallone remake of Get Carter, and then the 2005 Boogeyman, not the one that just came out this year in 2023. Other than that, though, all of his other movies are not that great, but this movie could go either way. I mean, I like that Keanu Reeves is playing something a little different here, and I like that they intentionally put this out at the same time as Speed 2. It felt like the people who saw this movie basically made this movie said, you know, Speed 2 is coming out soon, and they didn't want Keanu Reeves back, so you know what, we're going to put this right next to it, and we'll see how this pans out. But most notably, this is produced by the Kushner-Locke Company, who was most notably known for the animated movies they did back in the late 80s and 90s, you know, stuff like The Brave Little Toaster and Rover Dangerfield, Bebe's Kids, Pom Puppies and the Legend of Big Paw, just to name a few. And they've done live-action movies, Freeway, The Adventures of Pinocchio, Teen Wolf, Liberace behind the music, but I'm a cheerleader, so I had no idea they were behind this, so that's another thing that I noted about this. But other than that, could be good. Could be good. I haven't seen it, so I can't really say anything if it's anything that interesting. So, on to the next movie, Fall.
You're Sarah Houston, supermodel. I see you everywhere.
You're like a Shiva cab driver. So you know
Michael drives a cab. Sarah drives the paparazzi wild.
I want to take you to dinner tonight.
Bye, Michael Shiva.
Their desire was inconceivable.
Be careful, Michael.
I'm married.
She'll rip you apart. You'll never know what hit you.
Impossible.
There isn't going to be a later.
Oh, there's definitely going to be a later.
You're good.
And completely spontaneous.
You are the craziest, most passionate man I have ever met.
From the creator of If Lucy Fell, you never know what love can do until you let yourself fall.
You got a story here about a cab driver named Michael and a supermodel named Sarah who fall in love while her husband is on vacation in Madrid for 2 months. I don't know about you, but this kind of reminds me a lot of a movie that they did back in the 1980s with kind of a similar plot here. It was a terrible movie called Until September with Karen Allen in it, where this woman comes to London and she ends up and this guy tries to force her to fall in love with her while her wife is away. And it's one of those it was one of those really bad melodramatic movies that came out around that time period. I'll save that one for when we eventually do it on Time About the Movies Flashback, but it's a very bad movie. This guy who directed this, Eric Schaefer, he also did If Lucy Fell, which was not that great of a movie either. This was kind of a part where they were trying to make him the next big thing, and you got him, you got Amanda de Cadenet as Sarah. Lisa Vidal's also in here as well, Scarlett Johansson in an early film role. And that's really all I know about this movie. I don't know if it's any good or not, but considering the last couple things this guy's been involved in didn't last very long and weren't that great, I don't doubt this probably wasn't that great either. So I don't know if it's one I'd want to see anytime soon. So anyway, on to the last movie. Jean Reno in For Rosanna, a.k.a. Rosanna's Grave.
What are you thinking?
I'm thinking that this is a beautiful spot for a cemetery.
Don't die, Rosanna.
When a man loves a woman the way Marcello loves Rosanna, he will stop at nothing to make her happy.
What is Marcello doing? This is what you do when you cross the street. You look left, you look right.
My sister is very ill, and her one wishes to be buried in the cemetery, and there's only a few graves left. And Marcello doesn't want anyone else to die.
Marcello, Morvino.
No Morvino.
Very different role for Jean Reno compared to what we usually see him in action movies or comedies, screwball comedies, but you got a story here where Mercedes Ruehl plays this woman named Rosanna. She's dying of a heart condition, and all she wants is to be buried next to her daughter in the cemetery that is getting full really fast. And the cemetery can't expand because Capistro, the man who owns the land next to the cemetery, he won't sell, while Marcello, played by Jean Reno, is doing good deeds to make sure no one dies. Rosanna's starting to think of Marcello's future. This is directed by Paul Whelan, who also did City Slickers 2, The Legend of Curly's Gold, and Leonard Part 6. Not the best track record, but I don't know. This looks like a sweet little comedy, honestly. I mean, it doesn't look terrible. I mean, it looks like it could have its heart in the right place. It looks like it could be something pretty interesting compared to, like I said, what we used to seeing from Jean Reno, because this is a guy that, he's best known for stuff like Leon the Professional and starring in comedies such as Just Visiting, and he was also in a lot of the other notable movies, but this is rare to see him in a romantic comedy like this, and could be pretty interesting. It could be an interesting film to check out, maybe, but like I said, I haven't seen it, so I can't really say if it's any good or not. So that's For Rosanna.
I've been chasing this guy ever since I joined the force. He has no conscience, and he shows no remorse. He's the mastermind behind numerous bombings and political assassinations. There's a felony list a mile long: murder, arson, kidnapping, terrorism, you name it. He's the most dangerous and brilliant criminal mind I've ever known. For years, I've been watching him, tracking him, studying his every move. I know his every mannerism, facial tick, gesture. I know him better than he knows himself. And now, after all this time, I finally figured out a way to trap him. I will become him.
John Travolta. Nicolas Cage. Face Off from John Woo, the director of Broken Arrow.
I mean, that's really one of the greatest teaser trailers you'll ever see. I mean, it just looks like one shot, and you know that it has to be two shots because they got to get Nicolas Cage there at the end there. But that's a great teaser trailer, man. That's probably one of the greatest trailers I've ever seen that nobody ever really talks about. But let's talk about the movie that movie is selling. Of course, that is Face Off, and Face Off is the first major Hollywood film that John Woo got major creative control on. He had done a couple other films, specifically Hard Target. And course, this is a film that stars John Travolta and Nicolas Cage. It's interesting to see what this movie used to be before these people came together. This was supposed to be a Warner Brothers film at one point. Rob Cohen was supposed to direct the film. It was actually one of the turnaround because he left to do Dragonheart, and then John Woo became attached to it. And then they thought about all these different pairings for who they could get here. Like, we almost had a movie where Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone were these two characters. Then there was also one when Harrison Ford and Michael Douglas is one of the producers on this, was going to be the pair in this. And then Alec Baldwin and Bruce Willis, who would later go on to work in Mercury Rising, which, needless to say, is not a good film, but they almost met it for the first time in this one. But they eventually went to John Travolta and Nicolas Cage. Also, Johnny Depp was also interested. He wanted to play that role, but he passed on it after he read the script for it. So. And eventually went to John Travolta and Nicolas Cage, and the results speak for themselves, man. I mean, this is pretty much what you can ask for in a movie like this, and then some. You get to see Nicolas Cage playing John Travolta, over-the-top, manic-like, and also John Travolta playing Nicolas Cage, in an over-the-top, manic fashion. And the results speak for themselves, man. This is a film that really holds up after all these years as one of the biggest dumb, fun action movies you can ever see, man. And I mean, Travolta and Cage just work off each other so well. A great cast involved in this. Joan Allen, I almost forgot the names for a second. Gina Gershon, Dominique Swain, Nick Cassavetes, CCH Pounder, John Carroll Lynch, Margaret Cho, Thomas Jane. Just a good cast involved in this movie. Not everything about it works. If I'm being honest, Gina Gershon's character feels kind of pointless in this movie. Like, that whole subplot doesn't really make a whole lot of sense in this film. But you know what? Con Air had a lot of big errors to it in the story department, but it still made for a pretty badass movie. And man, what more can you say about this movie? It's a ton of fun. So over the top, so ridiculously fun. You see the doves in here, of course, which is the trademark of John Woo films. Really, what more do I got to say about this movie, man? This is just such a fun movie that's just so 90s, so ahead of its time, so just tons of fun, like so ridiculously stupid, but it just works because everybody is in on it. John Travolta and Nicolas Cage are having the time of their lives. Just a great film. Please don't make a sequel to this. I know they're making a sequel now with the director of Godzilla vs. Kong, Adam Wingard, and it's going to be a sequel to the original film, but really, please don't do that. Like, please let this be one of those movies where you talk about doing a sequel and then it just completely goes by the wayside. I hope that's the case. Please don't make a sequel to this, which doesn't really matter because they're going to make it anyway. So, and I'm guaranteeing it's not going to be anywhere near as good as this film. But again, what more do I have to say about this movie? Face Off, just good fun, man. Just a fun movie all the way through. If you haven't seen it, you're really missing out on something really great. So yeah, that's Face Off for you. So let's go ahead and move on to the last movie we have here, Head Above Water, with Cameron Diaz and Harvey Keitel.
Cameron Diaz, Harvey Keitel, Craig Sheffer, and Billy Zane in a comedy with some unexpected twists. Natalie is very hard to resist. In fact, everyone's trying to reel in her heart. Her husband.
We'll be back tomorrow around noon. Then I'll give you my full attention.
Have fun.
The boy next door.
We've been like brother and sister our whole lives.
Suppose I could be jealous, but I'm not. You see, I'm very secure.
And her ex-lover.
You know, you really shouldn't be here. I'm not your curling.
And now...
Natalie!
Kent!
Natalie's really in over her head.
Why did they try to remake Sibling Rivalry? I mean, I think this is literally the same plot as Sibling Rivalry. I mean, you have somebody who has sex with it. You have somebody who has sex with this person. They have an affair, and then while they're having sex, the guy ends up dying, and it's just like, that's literally the same plot as Sibling Rivalry, except that one was more over the top comedic, and this is more of a black comedy, but not really. I mean, I don't know. It's a film that really, I think it's mostly benefiting on the cast that it has here. It has a good cast to it. Harvey Keitel, Cameron Diaz, Craig Sheffer, Billy Zane. A pretty good cast overall here. And there are a couple of decent moments here and there that do make it kind of funny, but at the same time, not really anything too special or anything too intriguing. Like, I saw this a long time ago, and I don't remember hating it, but at the same time, I don't really remember anything that I really liked about it, honestly. I just thought it was a decent film. It wasn't bad. It wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen, but it wasn't a great film either. It was a film that was mostly just kind of a similar premise to, like I said, sibling rivalry, but at the same time, at least in this movie, there's at least a couple of laughs I remember from this than I do in that movie, but I don't remember hating it, but I don't remember liking it either. I think it's just a movie that's just very, very mixed, to say the least. Nothing too crazy, nothing too spectacular, just fine for what it is. Maybe for a one-time watch, but I'll never watch it again, honestly.